Oh, hey, it's Thomas Lennon, and I spent 8 months avoiding the email to be on Don't Be Alone with Jay Kogan, and now I'm here.
Don't be alone with Jay Kogan.
Hey guys, it's Jay Kogan, and you're watching Don't Be Alone with Jay Kogan. I'm so glad you're here. I'm very excited about you tuning in. I'm very excited about your subscriptions, your likes. People are giving me positive feedback. That makes me happy. Please do your best. Subscribe to the show when you can. Like it when you can. Send me emails at dbawjk@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you, and especially your guest questions, which I read each and every show. We have a great show for you today. Let me just preface this by saying I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I do stuff, a lot of stuff, but I'm tired all the time. So I wanted a guest who seems indefatigable. The guy never rests. He still does stuff all the time. He's got boundless energy, and his name is Thomas Lennon. You'll know Tom. He's one of the stars and creators of Reno 911. He plays Officer Dangle. He's been on many, many movies and shows. He was 17 again. I think he was in this movie with Matthew Perry where he was the uncle. It's fantastic. How I Met Your Mother and Friends, and he was on my show Wendell and Vinny at one time. I mean, he's always working, always doing stuff, and he did stand-up comedy, and he's done improv, and he's in a band, and he's a father, and he's a husband, and he works, and writes movies. He wrote Night at the Museum movie, and all those movies, and Pacifier, and Balls of Fury, endless amount of stuff. And he's on At Midnight. I saw him recently on the show At Midnight. So he's always working. Me, I'm mostly sitting. And sometimes I leave the house to go for a 15-minute walk and then come back and sit. I feel like our energy levels are different. And I'd like to be more like his energy level. So maybe he'll give me a clue as to what makes him tick, what drives him and moves him forward, and maybe give me some of that. I'd love it. Let's find out right after this.
Don't be alone with Jay Kogan.
You saw how many emails it took to get me to come in here, and I
Yes.
love you.
I understand. No, listen.
How many months did I just kind of let it slide?
I don't know, 8. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 8. But
Almost a calendar year.
Yeah, that's all right.
And I love you.
Yeah, I understand. Tom, I love
I
you
was
back.
like,
And
yeah.
and that distance that you created with the email,
Oh,
that's
man,
fine.
I was trying so hard.
That's fine.
God
But
damn, I was trying so hard to get you to just forget about it.
the thing about podcasts is there's one thing,
Yeah.
getting a guest. That's
no,
it.
I'm well aware. Yeah.
That's it. Just one. Do you have your own podcast?
Fuck no.
Okay. Well,
I
why
work for a
haven't
living.
I was going to say, why haven't I been on your podcast? Fuck you.
I don't have one.
Yeah.
People have jokingly said that they think I try to not have a podcast
Right.
as a status symbol.
Right.
Yeah.
It could be.
Could be. Usually, if something goes great, a podcast goes big if somebody says some batshit crazy
Right.
shit.
I wanted to do stuff about transgender stuff. So I just wanted what? No?
They won't even. I don't even think the word you can have it in your podcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then let's not.
Whatever you
let's
just
not
talked about got bleeped.
I'll take either side of that.
Because we're all
argument.
free speech absolutists.
This
now.
let's turn this into an actual thing.
Okay.
You are a very funny guy who seems to be, when I watch you perform, you're pretty free and easy about whatever you want to say and how you want to say it in character. And
True.
And your line is it funny?
True, that is, I think, a very good point. But that's an interesting point because so many things aren't that funny.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
So it's an easy test. It's a very easy test.
But you're willing to say something that's controversial or strange or dirty or weird or gross as long as it's funny.
Yeah.
Or as long as you think it's funny.
Yeah.
The world will be the judge.
Yeah. And we've gotten into a very weird place on that.
Yeah.
Where everybody's like, well, it was funny, but it was funny. Like, but it wasn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's the problem is that we don't all agree about what's funny.
Do you ever wonder how when people who write dramas, like, how do they feel like they're done?
Right.
You know? I mean, you know when you're done, right?
Yeah, I do.
You're
I
like,
do.
That's it?
Yeah, it's although could always be punched up a little bit more.
It could, but also maybe not.
Oh, that's
Sometimes you do.
This is you.
A
This
real
is,
secret is knowing when you're done.
right. This is why this is this
So I don't
show,
have a podcast.
Don't Be Alone with Jake Hogan is about solving my problems.
Are we gonna plug the fucking show every time you mention it or something like that?
Yes.
Is that something we have to do?
I've told it
Are we
repetition.
doing promos now in the middle
No,
of the
this is
fucking
not a
show?
promo.
Do I have to hold up some kind of boner pill?
You do.
That I'm okay with.
That,
Do you have a boner pill or anything like that?
I don't
yet?
have a boner pill
We'll
here.
get you one.
We'll get fantastic.
I mean, we're the kind of guys who are
Can we
like,
create our own and then sell it? That'd be awesome.
absolutely.
Kogan, Lennon boner pills? Or Lennon Kogan, excuse me.
No, we'll give it a fun name.
Okay.
We'll call it the Zipper.
Yeah. Sproing. Just sproing.
It's called literally
just,
sproing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, you been trying out this sproing?
Mint sproing and
It's a
cinnamon
mint.
sproing. You have them both.
You have to crunch it up and just
Yeah.
you have to roll it like a peppermint log.
Very complicated.
Like when you get peppermint bark at Christmas, you just roll it around on your boner until it. By the way, I think that probably will give a reaction to your boner if you just rolled it in peppermint bark.
I think as a Jew, if I rolled around peppermint bark at Christmas, there'd be some horrible reactions.
Welcome back to Don't Be Alone with Jake Hogan, brought to you by rolling your boner around in peppermint bark. Just something we're going to try,
But
and we're feeling pretty good about
my
it.
question that I brought up was going to be, you work all the fucking time.
Does it seem like that?
It does seem like that. At least it seems like you're all over the place a lot of the time. I see you on the social medias.
Yeah.
I see you doing concerts and going to sketch fests.
I think turns out I have attention deficit disorder.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. As you noticed that I couldn't wait for the end of your question.
Yeah.
Yeah, your bullshit question that
Yeah,
was
you
just
don't
dragging
care.
on
Well,
forever.
I wrote you in the 14-page document. The question's there, but
Some of it's in bold.
the thing about it is,
When I get an email that has 8 photos in it,
Right.
I'm like, what the fuck is this?
do you realize that
There's 8 photos in this email of things.
most of my guests have mental impairment, and so I have to be very gentle with them.
Not only did you get me, you got me on St. Patrick's Day.
I know what
This is crazy.
You're Scottish and Irish.
I am.
So is part of you really mad about St. Patrick's Day and part of you really happy about
Here's
it?
what's the interesting thing about that DNA. I went and got my 23andMe done. And when I say got it done,
Right.
it means you go and that's
Right.
it. You're done.
Yeah.
And I was only slightly shocked. I knew I was strong of the British Isles.
Sure.
I'm an Irish citizen,
Sure.
but that's not related
Okay.
to your DNA. But
Thank
I happen
God.
to be an Irish citizen.
Right.
And my DNA was 100% of people only from the British Isles.
Right.
We never, ever, to my line. Now, my sister has a tiny bit of like Viking sort of Scandinavian stuff.
Okay.
Because your siblings can have ever so slight variations in your stuff. But I don't. So I am only made up of several thousand years
Right.
of cousins
Right.
thinking the other cousin looked pretty cute.
That explains a lot.
It explains so much.
Yeah, it's
Why
about
can't
who-
I remember anything?
Right. No memory. No.
I literally can't remember anything. I'm
Yeah.
always bumping into stuff.
This is-
Probably some of the drinking stuff.
ADHD. This is
A
just
little bit of it's a perfect
yeah.
storm.
This is ADHD
Perfect
stuff
storm.
that's going on. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's good. I tried to get my 23andMe. I went to down to the company.
You went down
and
there.
I went down there and I masturbated on the building and nothing. I have not received a letter. Nothing. So I don't know. I mean, I couldn't have given more of my DNA. It was not possible to give more DNA.
That was we were back in the day. Speaking of a real time we had to do this in life, we were trying to have a baby back in the day, and then we did.
Right.
Great job.
Congratulations,
Way to
by
go,
the way.
bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. But for a while, we were trying with all the high tech
Sure. IVF.
stuff. Yeah. Well, you go down. We never did an IVF because that's pretty complicated. But we did a lot of stuff. One of which means like every Saturday morning going to Beverly Hills and putting some sperm into a thing.
Right.
In like a weird, very fancy office building in
Sure.
Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
And then you get to go in the room and you see what have a bunch of like,
Doctors.
I
No.
think nurses, Asian nurses
Right.
in their 70s.
Right.
What do they think is going to get you
Going.
ready to go?
Yeah.
And fast.
Right.
And some of the choices were weird.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Our
you ever
son
do
was
this?
created through IVF.
We should go find the materials they had
a-
and frame them.
Well, I actually thought that the porn that was provided was actually provided by Pfizer. Like it seemed, like the people doing it worked for Pfizer.
Was it
that they
office stuff?
Yeah, it was
Oh,
like
a lot of
office stuff. They
office.
seemed uncomfortable. Sometimes wearing lab coats. There was warnings.
See, now I'm thinking this is actually pretty solid.
Do not masturbate if allergic to masturbation. There was like these legal things that they have to go through for Pfizer or whatever it was. And yes, there was gay porn. There was like threesomes. There was all kinds of stuff. There was like a wide variety in the doctor's office in Robertson. I went to this
They
place.
should make you watch it at the child's
but christening or something.
Yes,
yeah,
it's some
right?
sort of ceremony,
Yeah.
like some sort of quinceañera. You know,
Right. My child's bar
Just to
mitzvah.
see,
Here's
like,
the porn.
Remind you of anything?
My son was created through this, and I masturbated a lot in offices. I still do, by the way. No longer have to do a baby.
Yeah, if you're sometimes they crucify you if you do that.
Yeah,
but not when you're paying them.
Exactly.
If
you
you
can
got,
just go
if you've got $36,000,
go ahead and masturbate in my
knock
office.
yourself out, bro. And we're gonna check in a second to see how it's going.
Yeah.
How's it going in there?
Yeah, it's the reverse of when you're 13. There, you better be jerking
I
off
hope
in
it's
there.
jerking off wonderfully in there.
Exactly.
Did you find the one with the Pfizer lady with the glasses?
Exactly. It's very strange. I at this point I masturbated in so many plastic cups that I get hard in party supply stores.
With that, we'll take a break.
Yep.
You're at Don't Be Alone with Jake Hogan. I avoided doing the show for 8 months
and
at
now
least.
you know why.
One more day, if I'd avoided it, it would have felt like there was a rift in our friendship.
Well, you wrote, yeah, sure. But within the sure, I felt a sigh. I felt there was, yeah, sure.
There's a real ellipsis.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, it's like, and it couldn't have been kinder, but I felt the sadness in the answer.
The answer is what I say. It's like my version of ghosting you or Irish goodbye, where I'm like, let's find a day.
Right. Let's find a day.
Year
Exactly.
goes by.
Just leave it alone.
Fucking year goes by.
Right. Yeah, it's fine.
And then I like act like I was like, oh man, my emails got crazy or something happened.
I know
they
when
really
people,
didn't.
I know when people are saying no. I do get the no. I actually, people
Who's
are
giving
firm.
a no? Who said no?
Larry David said
What's
no.
called?
Larry David said no.
I don't think he likes me.
I've
auditioned for his show
mentioned
so
that.
many times. I'm sure he did. He's going to have to come on the show to now respond to me saying, I think he does not like me. I think I bug him.
I think everybody bugs him.
Well, it felt pretty specific. A couple times I've read from him, and he's like, no. What is this?
Right.
What are you doing?
Right.
Was he allowed to do this? And I'm like, oh. I was like, so this is not the kind of improvisation that I do at the thing.
Okay.
We're playing a game called Guess What Larry David Thinks.
Right,
is
exactly.
the actual game.
Yeah. Tom, you've been on both sides of the casting arena.
Yeah.
Both sides of the casting couch. So when you are auditioning people, are you like, come right this way, let's talk, let's feel the feels? Okay, what do you do?
No, it depends. If you're auditioning for Reno 911, which is like probably the biggest one.
Right.
We just improvise with people. We just say, did you call the police? Don't tell us anything at all, but just begin with saying, did you call the police or were the police called about you?
Right.
And that's the only thing we say.
And then how do you get Toby Huss to shut up?
That's a real problem. Yeah. But you overshoot. You just keep shooting with him.
Just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Same with Swartzen. We just keep shooting.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
And then you turn it into like 4 very short pieces and 2 next week on, which means there was literally 1 joke.
Sure.
But we had to use it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's an industry. Like the Reno 911 as a concept and as a success story is fantastic.
It's neat. I think it spawned a lot of people thinking, oh, just do like improvise. Like take this sort of scenario and just improvise it.
Right.
When the answer is we only improvise after there's a spectacularly detailed map
Right.
of everything.
Correct. Right.
And there's like squibs are placed and everything's careful. What we do is we make up dialogue once everything's very carefully plotted out.
But then you have to go through it a few times before the squibs go off.
Yes, you do.
So you want to make sure the before is all taken care of.
There's nothing worse than like being in a scene. But what we don't do is every time I go in for Larry David,
that's terrible.
He's like, barf, get me a barf bag. I'm like, I thought I was kind of good at this. No. One time I came in.
Were you ever on Curb?
Never.
All right, man.
One time I came in and I read for like douchey Hollywood screenwriter that Larry leaves his laptop with for like 10 seconds.
Right. It seems like it was written for you.
Jesus, what the fuck what am I? Douchey Hollywood screenwriter who happens to be sitting next to him in a coffee bar. Apparently I didn't nail it. Not even close.
Okay. I want to ask you something else. This was supposed to be about how busy you are and how not busy I am, and how can I be busy like you.
Well, that's an interesting thing that I think the perception would be that I love that you think I'm busy.
I do.
Because to me, it feels like, why the fuck aren't there more things that I'm doing?
Really? I think you're doing everything all the time.
And then on paper, if I were to list things I'm doing, I'm like, well, fuck, that seems normal. And I'll hand that list to my psychiatrist and say, like, I seem like I'm doing a normal amount of stuff. And then he says, yes, but you're crazy. And I'm like, I know.
He's not supposed to tell you that.
Oh, no, he says it about every call.
He's not
Open
really...
and closing. He's like, well, it seems like you're crazy.
You're not crazy. You're not crazy.
No, I might be, but he's a very good psychiatrist.
You have energy.
I am restless.
Yes, you're restless.
I definitely write compulsively.
Does Ben, your sometimes writing partner, have the same energy you do?
He does. We don't really write together anymore.
Okay.
No.
Your former...
Yeah, we used to write together, but now we write separately. So,
all right. Did he have the same energy?
Yeah, he's got a very mad... but you have to, I think. You have to... I think once you start to realize what the ratio of things that you write to things that get made will be.
Right.
And if you're playing at the world-class top of TV and screenwriting, 1 out of 8 to 10 things you write might get made. Might. In
the movie world, that's an amazing record.
It'd be an amazing record. Yeah. We're when we were a partnership, we were something like that.
That's amazing.
We had 14 films made or something like that.
Incredible.
But that means we've also written...
Yeah.
100?
Yeah, a lot.
Like,
a lot.
Probably, like, and not I'm not being facetious. I mean, we've probably written just things that no one remembers or cares about, and they threw away the second they looked at it. They were like, fuck it.
Me too. I've written so many things, and I remember every scene, every joke, every detail of that thing.
Don't get too attached.
And it breaks your heart every time, because you have to fall in love with it at a certain point, right?
It starts breaking your heart less and less as you start to...
Not have a heart?
Yes.
Okay, good for you. Congratulations. Welcome to Hollywood.
What heart?
That little boy from Chicago has come, and now he's here, and he hates the world.
In fairness, I've joked about this on occasion. We had very good practice for Hollywood by being in the State, our comedy group, because every day at 3, you would pitch material, and it's not like we're rooting for each other necessarily.
No.
Because if your sketch gets in, mine does not.
Right.
So it was like very cutthroat.
You guys didn't help each other? Hey, it would work if you did X, Y,
No,
and Z?
we did.
Yeah,
we were like a gang too, but like the pitching process was very intense.
Right.
And it got you ready to sit in a room with people who do not want to hear your idea.
Right. Well, Rejection,
or don't like it. Yeah.
Rejection is a huge part of show business, if not the major part of show business.
It's the main part. We got Adam Sandler unattached himself to something one time.
Yeah.
We were in pitching to Sony, to Doug Belgrad, the head of the president of Sony, pitching this, we thought was an amazing movie. It's about a limo driver who basically has to take these 5 boys around, like 10 to 12-year-old boys. He's like babysitting these boys for some mob boss.
Pedo driver.
No, not. That's not.
Okay, no,
it's a little different.
Okay, all right.
But so the idea, it's like a My Fair Lady. There's these 4 or 5 boys. They've been raised on like reality TV shows, and they're all gross. And one's a mobster, one's like a Kardashian.
But maybe this limo driver is going to teach them something about real life.
He takes them to the Thunder from Down Under and teaches them what gentlemen are like and how to tie ties. It's like a big movie about just making these guys nicer human beings. And there's a little minor caper happens in the background.
Okay,
fun little picture.
Right.
Sandler's people love it. Sandler's attached. We go in to pitch it to Sony. We're pitching it to Doug Belgrad at Sony. It's going off the rails. Fantastic.
Oh, good.
We are fucking killing it. It's like a Harlem Globetrotters game.
Right.
We're doing trick shots. We're doing bits.
Right.
Assistant comes in with a Post-it note and shows it to Doug in the middle of the meeting. It's like, guys, this is amazing. It'll be 30 seconds. I have to take this. 30 seconds. I love this. Right back. 45 seconds go by. Doug comes back in. Get back in it, guys. Go. We finish up. Boom. Layup. 3-point shot. Buzzer. Kill it. Pitch of our fucking life. Never hear another thing from them for days. I'm like, hey, did anybody think it was weird that we had our Harlem Globetrotters, like we were doing backflips pitch? We were basically like you two at Red Rocks.
Right.
Like it was
the best it's ever going to be.
It was Freddie Mercury Live Aid. Best it's ever going to be.
Magic moment. And then it was interrupted by a note, and then quickly...
The Post-it note was Adam Sandler calling on the other line. And Doug went out to take the call about some totally unrelated issue.
He said, I'm not doing this.
Very close.
Right.
Doug said, "Oh, hey, your boys are in here pitching the limo driver idea."
Right.
And Sandler apparently said, "Oh, I don't know about that."
Oh.
That was all it took.
Damn.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah. All right. Well, you know what?
You gotta be careful because sometimes you're like counting the money. You know?
Yeah.
You're in the car.
No. I'm never counting that money.
Get one McLaren.
Even when
minus
it's
a McLaren.
sold and even when it's written.
I get one Kumar.
Yeah.
Get one McLaren.
Right.
Yeah.
No, if it's sold, it's written, it's being filmed, I still not counting the money.
Don't count the money.
It's just
it's not coming.
Right.
Because it's also not coming.
Right. Well, that's the thing about show business. You have to love doing it and be willing to get punched in the gut every now and then.
We had a big idea. Me and Ken Marino had a really, really, really big idea recently that did not go.
Okay.
And I can talk about it because it's never going anywhere.
All right.
It cannot and will not be done.
All right.
Can't be done.
Then tell us.
Impossible.
Tell us what is the idea that can't be done?
Right when we come back.
We don't have commercials.
What do you not
We
have?
don't
What the
take
fuck
breaks.
are you doing?
We don't take. They
Where do you sell peanut brittle?
insert commercials.
Son of a bitch,
Well, then
what are you doing?
then I'll come back. Hey, we're talking here with Tom Lennon, TV's and movies great actor, comedian, writer, does everything.
Put some peppermint bark on your boner and see what happens. I think something fun will happen.
No, you literally YouTube inserts a commercial in the middle of a sentence. No, we have nothing to do.
Are
with
we
it.
on YouTube?
We're on YouTube. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple. We're on everything.
That's
every
why I
place.
avoid all this bullshit.
But let me just say this. It costs them nothing to subscribe. It costs you nothing to just press subscribe or like, but subscribe better.
I think in the email you told me, you're like, here's all the ones you can watch and listen to on YouTube. And I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Right, exactly.
I'm not
All
fucking
you
doing
to
that.
you just
What am I,
have
some
to
kind of fucking
subscribe.
yokel?
I listen to podcasts
I will
all
when
the
this
time.
one comes up so that it shows that I give your numbers a bounce.
All right. So you and Ken have this great but impossible idea.
Not impossible at all. I would love to, as one of my, as a writer who I love your writing, and I think you're one of the funniest guys, as much as we're goofing around about peppermint bark and stuff. So Ken and I we had a thought experiment.
Yeah.
And here was the thought experiment. What is a Disney ride? What is the worst, most impossible Disney ride
To make a movie of. Right. Tom Sawyer Island?
Nope.
Mark Twain?
Nope.
Paddleboat?
Nope. Keep going. Put it in the
Little
comments. You're about to know.
Let's see.
Put it in the comments.
What? It's in Fantasyland.
Nope.
No.
It's in Florida. I'll give you a hint. It's in Florida.
One of the pavilions. God,
Maybe.
the French, the sort of
You're very close.
the Scottish food pavilion.
I got it in the comments.
Okay.
The Hall of Presidents.
The Hall of Presidents. Okay.
Seems like an impossible movie to make, right?
Yeah. It's not impossible. Sure.
wanna
What
hear
if they come to life?
I did that. That was Night at the Museum.
I know.
And we literally wrote that. But wait.
Right.
Here's the real premise for this. And at the end, in the comments, tell me if we didn't crack Hall of Presidents as a movie.
Okay.
Okay?
Right.
I'm only saying this because it's not going. I know it's not going forward.
Right. Okay.
We got to affirm.
Right. Okay. From the people who own the rights to the presidents.
Yeah. Well, the presidents weirdly are fair game. You can have them.
Right.
So, the movie's set in 1984. So we're in the Reagan era. Okay. So it ends with Reagan. We don't have anybody.
There. I'm like
we have no presidents past Reagan exist in this world.
Right. All right.
We got a young girl as our heroine, and she is like a very good with computers and things like that. And she's got like a Commodore 64. It's that era of computing and things. She's also a sort of a super fan of the Hall of Presidents. Her parents are split. Her mom works at the Space Center on robotic stuff, and her dad's in the Secret Service with Reagan. Right. We open the movie with like there's a Kathy Bates character who is an anarchist, who is the great granddaughter of the anarchist who assassinated McKinley. Okay. So that's our backstory on that.
So, and she is mad at the government, and you know what she's going to do? She's going to take it out of the Hall of Presidents.
Not yet. Okay. You're ahead of me.
All right.
You're ahead of me.
All right.
But also way behind me.
Okay.
Okay. So, kids down there. It opens with that the Kathy Bates anarchist has woken up an old defense system that we used to have, which is under a lot of our national parks. But we were worried that the Soviets were going to build like some big kind of Gort-like giant robot type things. So we built some too. And it was like a secret project that nobody remembered. But she has now gotten the codes and awakened these like sort of Iron Giant-y, Gort,
Right.
huge defensive robots that were supposed to protect us.
Okay.
But now Shigen is going to fuck with us because she's also a French anarchist.
Right.
So this happens. Reagan comes on the news and it's like, ladies and gentlemen, we've been attacked by someone as this old technology that we sort of forgot that we had. The girl's down at the Hall of Presidents because that's where she goes a lot when she's trying to kind of lay low. And there we meet the guy who restores and builds the
Is
animatronics.
she going to reprogram the presidents to fight the giant monsters?
100%. So with the help of of Lin-Manuel Miranda, there's like a Lin-Manuel Miranda
Right,
guy.
sure.
He's the guy. He lives with like a Taft
Right.
that's not finished.
Sure.
And he's got a Nancy Reagan that's like a spider that with just a head and metal, sort of like an ex machina Nancy Reagan.
Yeah.
And after the attack, the robots attack, and they're like, "Look, we could roll over, or we've got, up to Reagan, we've got like 38 or 40 some robots.
Each one has a superpower.
They're going to.
Okay.
Once we fucking rebuild them, and they load them into a truck, and they with Nancy Reagan."
Woodrow Wilson's white hot racism will have a beam out of his eyes.
Yeah, FDR's in it, can go real fucking fast.
Super speed.
Yeah, and they've just like got they've got like basically they've made an army of
$6 million
perfect
men.
Yeah,
Yeah. All right. Fantastic.
So we did crack it. I feel like
Sure. I got it.
went all the way to the top.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, congratulations.
On what?
Congratulations on just the thought experiment. Good for you guys for putting your creativity to use. I don't know. It's always sad.
What's the longest project you work on that never went anywhere?
I'm still doing it.
Which is it? Can you say it? When we wrote on The Secret Life of Walter Mitty.
Yep.
We were writing on it, and there had been drafts of it, just of that version, going for 16 years. One was you.
I wrote a bunch. I wrote a few.
I saw you. Did you ever see the arbitration pages on that?
Yeah, forever.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was like a who's who.
Well, I'll tell you the story of that. So at one time, our friend Mike Myers was attached to play Walter Mitty.
Almost everybody was at some point.
And so he said, "Okay, I want to do this kind of thing," and it was very specific. And will you help me? He said, "Sure." And said, "Okay." Oh, so I come up with many different versions of it. He said, "No." And I was like, "Well, Mike, what do you want to do?" He says, "How about this version where it's a super spy and it happens in England?" And it's like, "Okay, let's do that."
Isn't he pitching Austin Powers?
No, it was Walter Mitty.
Okay.
Walter Mitty is still,
but you just
still
said
a guy.
he's a super spy and it happens in England.
He's just a regular guy who becomes.
I'm aware. I'm aware of the project.
I know.
I did at least 3 years on it,
right.
and still our draft was totally thrown out.
And so I write the outline to his very detailed specification.
Of course.
And I turn in the outline. And the movie company calls Mike and says, "You got to get rid of this guy."
We've had that happen for sure. We've
he's
definitely
gone
had
off
that.
the rails, man. And Mike, to his credit, he did protect me. He said, "No, let's keep going." And eventually, he says, "We'll make some changes."
I got into big trouble one time with a producer. I got in big trouble.
Yeah.
Because I made a fucking crazy mistake. We'd written a script that I was really proud of called Rent a Ghost.
Okay.
Really good. Really proud of it. And I, when it was done, and it was the first draft was done, sent it to the producers and the star at the same time.
Yep. That's a mistake.
The star sent a note back saying how much he loved it. It's like, oh my God, I love it so much.
Right.
I believe he said you couldn't have knocked it out of the park any further.
Right.
This movie did not go.
Right.
The producer apparently was screamed
Right.
for so loud
Right.
and for so long
Right.
that I would dare
To send it to the star
CC
without
the star of the
Yep.
movie
Right.
so that he couldn't come in and yell at us
Right.
before the star
Right.
saw it. Now, I'd like to point out, the star read it, replied all, and said, "I love it so much, you absolutely knocked
Right.
it out of the park." So in a normal, if we didn't live in Bizarro
Right.
world, that producer would have been like, holy shit,
Fantastic. We got it.
I got a real tough star
Right.
to say yes.
Right.
We got it.
Right.
That was not what happened.
No.
Because it's Hollywood.
And this guy must
Lost
have thought
his
himself,
fucking mind.
I'm bigger than that star. In some way.
Doesn't
he-
matter. You just fucking stole the joy. The
Yeah.
only joy I have is yelling at these fucking writers.
Right. Right.
That's the only joy I get.
Well, they get it a lot. They are very.
Yeah, but I took one away.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Yeah.
That's
movie never happened.
The-
Obviously, the movie never happened.
So that was my original topic that you refused to answer, which is where does this work ethic come from? And you just dismissed it, saying there's no work
No, it's
ethic.
a genuine fear.
Okay.
I mean, I think when you picked the life of doing the kind of things
Right.
that we do, because there is so much rejection, because
Right.
because so many things will just evaporate in front of your eyes that we're going like,
Right.
oh, I accidentally sent a script that the star loved to the star,
Right.
and now I think I'm fired
Right.
off of a movie
Right.
that the movie star loved.
And that movie can't get
But now this
resurrected.
other
right?
guy's really mad at me.
Yeah.
Like so mad that
Right.
we're done,
Right.
kind of.
But let me ask you this.
Once
Did
you
you
get that
think
much-
by
yeah.
sending it to the star, you were going to circumvent?
Of course.
Okay.
I
So
was being
then,
a
and he
dick.
knew that.
I was being a dick.
He knew it, and he just called you
Yes,
on it.
It
All
was
right.
a dick move.
Yeah. All right.
But I thought I'd won.
Right.
Because
Right.
there's another universe where the star writes back and is like, ooh, a lot of heavy lifting to do.
Right. Right.
Sometimes you get that.
Sure.
Sometimes Adam Sandler's on the other line going, I don't know about that.
Right,
I don't
right.
know. That sounds
Right.
dumb. Also, why would we do this with the presidents? That's dumb.
Right.
No, I think it's out of 100% fear.
But are you still afraid? You've done so
course.
much stuff. Are you still afraid?
of course.
All right. So
When
that's
do you,
just
when
never.
do you feel like you're going to feel like, oh, I did everything I could do?
Oh, never.
Never.
Never. But
if you ever feel like I did everything I needed to do, you probably don't do this that
Right.
much.
Right. No,
It might not be for you.
there's a drive within me and clearly within you to want to be making things, to be seen, to have attention
Yeah.
on you, to sort of be perceived as successful,
And
to be
run away as fast as you can from an unbelievably deep, deep loneliness and need to
Yes.
for approval.
Yes.
Well, I'm not running towards something.
Right.
I'm running away
But why is that
from
still
lonely, deep
at
loneliness.
my age? I am over 60.
Yeah.
Why does that still exist?
I remember, like, when I was a young person, there'd be times where I would, like, spend an afternoon playing a video game,
Right.
like GoldenEye or something, or I'd
Sure.
read a book,
Right.
or I'd go walk around and look at a park.
Right.
I'm not fucking doing that now. There's
No,
stuff
you're-
I could do.
You're writing books. You're writing the Ronan
But
Boyle.
I should
You're
be writing
your-
a book. Yeah.
you're-
If you got time to go walk around a park and smell something, you have time to write a fucking
Right.
book.
But you need to go walk around and smell something.
don't.
You do.
You
You,
don't.
do in
You
order
do
to
that,
write the book.
No, you do that when you're doing bit parts in Vancouver. You take a little walk around, and then you get back to the thing.
The park that I used to walk around and burn
Mm-hmm.
down, so I now have to find a new walking spot. But I wanted to find
Mm-hmm.
out like not everybody from Oak Park, is that where you're from?
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody from Oak Park decides I'm going to devote my life to comedy. I'm going to Well, how did that happen?
Well, you know, growing up in Chicago there is one interesting detail, which is because of the theater scene, because it's such a vibrant art community, because there's Second City and the Improv Olympic
Right.
and things like that, the idea of being like a working actor, if you grew up in Chicago,
Right.
does not seem as far-fetched as it could be.
Right.
If you're thinking about being in like plays and things
Right.
like that, which is something that I probably sort of thought I was going to do. It was be like a sort of theatrical type person.
Right.
And then I was very lucky, really early something happened. I mean, it was a very finite one person I met who changed my life entirely. And
Jesus Christ?
his name was Jesus H. Christ.
Right. Okay.
And it was so I was into theater and stuff, and like I thought I was going to always act and stuff. And then I went to the Northwestern summer theater program that it's called Cherubs, and there was a teacher there. I mean, I had an actual Dead Poets Society sort of scenario
Right.
with a writer who you probably know. His name is Peter Hedges.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote the novel and the movie of What's Eating Gilbert Grape, and
Yep.
then he wrote like An Ocean in Iowa. And he also used to write like a play a week in New York. He would just like write and write and write and write. And when I got to Northwestern, I was like, who is this guy? He's also like very cool. Peter had like cool flowing hair.
Sure.
He was roommates with Tom Holland. I'm like, this
Wow.
is the coolest person
Mhm.
I've ever met.
Fucking Manson girls.
So cool.
Yeah.
Fucking, he has a
Mhm.
whole set
Sure.
of Manson girls.
Yep.
And I was like, and it was this guy that Peter who like opened up the idea that you should write every day for like the joy of it,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And he would do like we do like Dead Poets thing. He'd be like, let's go down to the beach at Northwestern, like let's write a one-act play. And he'd be like, well, it probably won't be good. And he's like, fuck you, who cares if it's good?
Right.
3
Right.
hours from now, we're guys who've written a one-act play.
Right.
We aren't right now.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's true.
So what? Maybe one of them is. If we do it 6 times,
and the act
one of them is
of writing is fun.
It's very fun.
It's very fun.
Actually, I really...
The problem with getting to the act of writing is overcoming the idea it's going to suck, I'm going to suck.
Oh, you can't worry about that.
And I of course, you can't. You're not supposed to, but
Everybody
people
else
do.
will tell you that anyway.
But
It doesn't
everybody
matter.
does.
Don't go back and look at what you wrote. Never look at what you
Right.
wrote.
Everybody
And
worries.
The joy of doing it is doing it.
Right.
That's always my question is like, would you do this for free every day forever?
Right.
And a lot of people are like, no way, bro.
Right.
And I'm like, well, then don't do it because
It turns out I am doing it for free.
almost always.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even
so
if you're,
it's-
I swear to God,
Right.
even if you're at the top of the
right.
game,
Yeah. Yeah.
it is mostly free
Yep.
every day.
Yes, exactly. So you better like it.
And then every once in a while,
Something
$200
happens.
$200 for the Mickey ears.
Sure, you get something. You get a little something. You get a little taste.
You get your beak wet just
Right.
a little bit.
And it brings you back in.
And then, oh yeah.
Yeah. But it's all right. But Showbiz has been good to us. Like, we
Showbiz
can't
been
complain.
great to us. I'm not complaining. It just made us crazy.
What made you want to write the Ronan Boyle books?
That was, I'd always wanted to do a novel,
Mhm.
you know? I'd always wanted to do sort of a funny novel. I grew up very obsessed with sort of the Douglas Adams Hitchhikers kinds of
Mhm.
books and things like that, which is just sort of like science fiction or fantasy, but done with a pretty dry tone, you know?
Super funny.
So I was in Ireland, and I was like staying in this old castle, looking at this castle wall, and the guy was telling me about what shillelaghs were for.
Mm-hmm.
You know, shillelagh was you'd carry a shillelagh, which is a happy St.
a
Patrick's
weapon.
Day. Yeah. It's not a walking stick.
No, it's a weapon.
It's because Catholics couldn't carry metal swords. They weren't allowed
Right.
to carry metal swords. So it's like, what's the scariest thing you can carry that's not metal?
Yeah. I'm still
So-
down with that law, by the way.
I'm absolutely.
So I don't know.
It's been keeping me down for a long
Exactly.
time. I know.
Sure.
But subsequently, I have some amazing sticks. But so, and you know, like when we do what we do of like scripts and stuff, people are always like, "Can you make this much more concise?" Like our page count is crazy.
Sure.
You know, every page is very expensive. You know, so it's like, is there any way to fit all of this, either description or this whole character, what this character's doing? Is there any way to just like
Right. Tighten it down.
books
Tighten it
are
down.
the exact opposite.
Yeah. Just go on and on.
Absolutely. There's like there's chapters in my book where you get to hear what the robot vacuum thinks. And I'm like, oh, you can absolutely do. Not only can you do that, that's the fun of it.
It's required.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's required.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right.
There's in my second part of my book, they go to the land of unicorns for a while, which is basically like Ibiza for unicorns.
Sure.
It's like retired British unicorns at buffets and stuff. And our main hero gets kidnapped and becomes the sidekick to Iquasos, who's the unicorn of wonder. He has this like, they do this show like 9 times a day.
Okay. Okay.
And
So it's like a cruise.
Yeah, it's like
All
a
right.
cruise
All
ship.
right. Sure.
Yeah, so it's like there's fun stuff I get to do, and the unicorn in book 2 I based very much on like Morrissey.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Which is, I know that you're a huge
very
fan.
specifically.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a lot of fun stuff you get to do. I know, you know, you can. It's great if you're just thinking of obstacles for your main character in a book. They can go on for a long. I mean,
Yes.
you can really, really get into the weeds.
And how do you know when you're done with the book then?
Tougher.
Yeah.
Tougher.
Yeah.
It will reveal itself usually.
All right.
Even in the last book, it revealed itself. But I mean, it will reveal itself generally.
And then when you're second drafting it, are you cutting a lot or are you adding a lot? You're adding. Okay.
Tons and tons. And I'll get like sometimes I love my editor's really amazing, Maggie Lerman at Abrams. She'll like give me a little note of just like, talk about this more, and I'm like, yes.
It's interesting. Well, I was
It's
always
the opposite of movies.
I was
Yeah.
interested in writing a book, but then I thought I would have to read one first.
No, you don't have to.
Okay, good.
Yeah, what you do have to is if the book goes well, you have to read the audiobook of it, which is a farting nightmare.
Oh, they won't make me do that.
And they do not. Basically, if you read the audiobook, you never, ever, ever stop unless you mess up.
Right.
So, like my books, which are 300 some pages long, I've read them all in like 2 days.
Wow.
But like at the end of it, I'm like shaking.
Do you ever
wet.
get like, hey, can I take that line again? I don't think I did it well. Do they say no?
They will come back and then they go away for a couple days and then they're like, here's the 20 lines you have to fix.
Okay.
But usually they're just like, go.
Yeah.
They don't want to help. They don't care.
They don't care.
Are we going to go to a break or there isn't
No,
going
we
to be
are going
one?
to the next section of our show called Question Time.
It's question time.
This is from Holly. How has fame changed your life? Is it better, worse, or the same?
I find for the most part, it's interesting because I'm also in a weird category of not quite that famous.
Right.
But recognizable in a weird sort of
People
general
recognize
way.
you, I would say, probably
Yeah.
mostly from Reno?
Mostly, and then a little bit of there's a younger crowd that likes Uncle Ned from 17 again.
Sure.
Which is a fun little one. But
Matt Perry.
I think for the most part, it exacerbates what you already were already.
Right.
You'll find that the lovely people generally got lovelier, and the icky weirdos generally got ickier and weirder, and then they remove themselves from show business.
Right.
So the longer you stay in show business, I find that people tend to be delights.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I do think that most people I run into are fantastic, fun, interesting, funny,
The
smart.
ones that are around for a long time
Yeah.
tend to be fucking delights.
Yeah. I mean, there's no...
The ones you hear about, like, oh my God, they're gone.
The problems, the
They
people who are
evaporate.
brooding for no reason. Like,
Have fun.
Yeah, exactly. It's, I agree.
Making sets complicated? No.
I will say that, and they asked me, that sometimes my level of fame is much lower than your level of fame, and your level of fame is, they recognize
Medium.
you sometimes.
Yeah.
It's easier for people to like you. Like there's a moment of introduction, or there's a moment of
People assume
commonality
they're gonna like you.
where they're going to find commonality of something that you've done that they
It's
like.
a super unfair advantage that
It's
you
true.
have. It's a real unfair advantage. And the one thing that I've seen play out, only thing that bugs me about being famous, and it doesn't bug me, but it does bug me, is I will go places with my wife and people are like falling over themselves to make sure things are wonderful.
Right.
And then she'll go back without me. And
Right.
and you're like, oh, you were only really being nice to us because of that.
Now
And that's not great.
No,
I'm like, if you're gonna be a dick, be a
it's-
dick to everybody. Don't be lovely to me.
definitely ask about little known stories between he and Matthew Perry from 17 Again, an Odd Couple.
Okay, sure. One thing that you probably know that not everyone knows is Matthew and I have a major girlfriend in common.
Oh, who?
Gabby.
Okay, I did
You
not
know
know
that?
that. No,
Gabby Greenberg?
I know Gabby. Sure.
Yeah. Gabby
All right.
Allen, Gabby
Yeah.
Bober.
Sure.
So Gabby was my last girlfriend before my wife.
Okay.
And when I started dating Gabby, she was just coming off of a very long relationship with Matthew.
All right.
So it was kind of a funny turn of events, and we're still quite close.
Right.
And Gabby came and brought her kids to Odd Couple. It was a particularly odd. Odd Couple was very odd for Gabby.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because it's both.
Both
exes.
guys. Yeah. More
Yeah.
odd for Rob Greenberg, I would think.
Probably.
Yeah. So,
But I mean, we're friends.
We're all
I'm
adults
I'm
now.
on his show now.
we're all adults now.
I'm on Animal Control.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Let's do a clip.
Yep, here
Oh,
it is.
we can't do that.
The Wee McGinty. Will we ever get to see the Wee
Oh
McGinty?
Lord, no! We wrote a movie about a guy who wakes up and finds out he was a leprechaun. Yeah,
Right.
no. I mean, the world used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we used to write all movies about all kinds of stuff.
That's not going to happen.
It was in development for a while.
Yeah.
We had a movie in development.
Who was your dream?
Well, it was
Star.
we wrote it for like Pete Dinklage in mind.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a small guy, but,
Right.
but it was not. It was not a cutesy pie sort of. It was a fucking mess.
Right.
And,
All right.
yeah.
Yeah. So many
It
are.
wasn't like a tiptoes kind of thing. It was like a real sort
Right.
of like. It's about a guy who like washes up and he has no memory. It's a born identity,
Sure.
but a guy doesn't remember what he is, and what he is he's a leprechaun from
Fantastic.
from Tiernan Oaks.
Why aren't we making that?
I don't know, man.
Make it a short.
Why-
We'll win an Academy Award.
We're not making 99%.
I know,
We're
nothing
not
gets
making
done.
my fucking Hall of Presidents things, which you were iffy on, but I know is amazing.
Yeah. Do you keep an extra mustache in your pocket just in case people cannot identify you?
I do have a Ziploc bag, I realized lately when I was packing for something that has 2 mustaches in it,
Okay.
and nothing looks sadder,
Yeah. No.
you know, than when you find a weird little, just a
Extra
sandwich
mustache,
bag with
yeah.
a couple extra mustaches around. It just feels like something weird, like John Waters movie happened, or
Yes.
something curious happened.
Something curious happened.
Why,
But maybe,
why were all these fellas meeting up with fake mustaches? What happened here?
but maybe it
Yeah.
adds to your mystique.
Well, the mustache, once you have the mustache,
Yeah.
it's very, very different. I get treated very differently.
The grooming seems rough.
I can authoritatively tell people to not stop doing stuff,
Right.
and they will stop.
Right. Okay. Because you have a
We
mustache.
could roll down. Yeah, I could go right out there right now,
Right.
and we could get anybody to stop what they're doing.
Because you have the mustache.
And
that's fantastic.
a certain way of carrying yourself.
Yeah, that's
but the mustache
yeah.
leads to the way you carry yourself.
The reason I don't have it, well, among the many reasons I don't have a mustache, I don't know where to stop. I don't know where the edge
huge conversation.
is. Yeah.
It's a huge conversation because pretty soon you start.
Because you turn
into Tom of Finland pretty fast, and I know you're aware.
Right,
Kids, go look up Tom of Finland.
Kids, don't
right
look
away.
at Tom of Finland.
Kids,
do not.
I demand
do
that
not
you
look
go
at Tom of Finland.
in the comments. Click back once you've gone to Tom of
Parents,
Finland.
stop your children from looking at Tom of Finland.
Oh boy, kids have to learn about that.
Not today. They don't have to learn today.
You do.
What's it like to have a few seconds of Dark Knight Rises?
More than a couple seconds. A lot of fun stuff about that picture. One, the script came on red paper, and everything was redacted that wasn't something I said.
Right.
So I could not see what anyone said in the movie. I couldn't see any characters.
Well, they just did that for you because they know that you're going to sell all that information.
It got hand delivered to me.
Yeah.
Somebody came from Christopher Nolan's office with with a page and a half of red paper with redacted information. And I'm like, this is fun.
The security that goes through scripts now. I get the lamest sitcom script pilot of all time.
Jake
And
Hogan.
it's Jake Hogan. It's numbered as if I'm going to immediately go on eBay and sell your shitty script.
A script.
Yes, a script.
Actually, the Dark Knight Rises script probably would have been pretty valuable.
It is now.
It had a code name. The movie had a code name, of course, because the movies don't have... I don't even know if I can say the code name of it now. I'm not going to.
Okay,
It had a code name when we made
You
it.
signed an NDA.
They were
so
filming a movie in like 5 places around the world, in India, London. One of the places
Chatsworth.
was downtown Los Angeles.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I bet my scene's going to end up in downtown Los Angeles. And it ended up in London.
Fantastic.
Fucking Croydon.
That's awesome.
And of course, he shoots on film, so you have to stay till they've looked at the dailies, real dailies on actual film. So I was there for like 4 days. The first day I was there, some prince's bevy of wives and daughters from the Saudis world had checked into the same hotel that we were at. And I'd gone out to dinner with Steve Gerke, the script supervisor from all the Nolan movies. And I came back at the Langham, and I got a note. The manager had left a note and said, one of our guests is like a prince, and his many
family members
would like that whole floor. So we need to get you off of that floor right now. And I was like, oh. And I was in a really terrible hotel room. And then they put me in like one of the presidential suites.
Beautiful suite, yeah.
For the rest of the week that I was there.
Fantastic.
So I was in a suite. I had one scene with Bale, who's a hilarious guy in person. Very funny dude.
I'm very happy to hear that because
Bale?
I don't know him. I only know his work, and he could be literally anything as far as I know.
You could not like him more.
Yeah.
He is an absolute mensch. It was always interesting because you heard that, he got famous when that sort of tirade came out. And people were like, oh, wow, Christian Bale's... I was like, first of all, if you listen to what he's saying and what happened, I agree with him 100%.
Sure.
People will fuck up scenes that you're doing that are hard for no reason all the time. And what he's saying is, well, you can't get back what we just did.
Right.
And I totally agree.
I agree with what he was saying. It's the tirade.
I liked it.
The anger that he said it with, which made it seem...
I liked it.
Okay.
I liked it.
It's all good.
Sometimes you gotta be performatively mad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Have you never done a thing where you get performatively mad a little bit?
That's not in my wheelhouse.
Just to scare somebody?
It's not in my wheelhouse. So now it's time for listener mail.
Now it's time for listener mail.
So, dear Jay and guest, is there a compromise between comedy and dignity?
And dignity. I mean, to me, if you've seen my work, I think you really can't. You can't get into really funny things unless you get over the sort of vanity, and you have to get over the idea of looking cool.
Right.
There's like, you can't be cool, I think, and really reach a level of...
Right, because it's not about cool. It's about showing flaws. It's about showing what's wrong. So the answer is yes. So there's a real compromise. If you want to maintain dignity,
this is not for you.
Then this is not for you. However,
or you can do it, but you won't really.
On the other side of being a crazy, undignified nutbag is adulation and applause that gives you a strange amount of dignity. Like there's there's a fulfillment in it that comes on the other side of that, but you do have to crawl around in the shit before that happens.
Yeah. You got to do a lot of, like the Reno 911 Burning Man episode.
Sure.
Where I'm just in a thong for, days.
But you don't really mind that. It's fine.
It's fun.
It's fine.
It's also just something to do.
Right.
Sometimes, like, you could have your dignity, or just there is something to do,
Yeah, I guess so.
I will do things on camera that there's no amount of money you could pay me to do them if we were not filming.
Right.
But once we're filming, I'm game.
Right, because it's for the thing. It's for the thing.
Very game.
Yeah.
There's been stuff we've done that I'm like, never.
Right.
Never.
Like, what's one
Oh,
thing?
we're gonna film it? We did a scene where we went to this swamp in way up in like Santa Clarita. But the water was like 45 degrees or something. It was freezing cold, and we were like down under the water and hid under the water, stuff like that.
The answer is yes. Fuck your dignity. Be funny. And there's something better about being
You'll
funny
get your
than being
dignity back
dignified.
later. You just have to leave it, and you'll get it back later.
You seem like a guy who needs to sometimes just calm down and breathe. What is it?
Oh.
You're not doing pot. What are you doing?
No. I do go to like a very hard hot yoga class every single day.
All right.
Every day.
All right. And in that vein, we have something called Moment of Joy.
A moment of joy.
What do you do to bring yourself joy? What's something that you do that's not your kid, not your family?
The Smiths.
Not right. Okay.
Smiths. I play in a Smiths cover band.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And how often do you play?
I play as many shows as I can with them, but it keeps me. The other thing that I think is important about me playing with the Smiths cover band is it's good to do something that you're not amazing at.
Right. That's
Like,
why I do this.
You're
Fantastic.
Correct.
Exactly.
And it's good to do something where you have to struggle. Like I have to struggle to keep up with that band, and I have to learn hard things that I would not know.
That's why also one of the reasons I do sex is I'm not very good at it. I keep practicing. And I'm not good at it.
And then eventually you'll just
Right.
wear yourself out.
Exactly.
You'll just doze off.
Yeah. Tom, I want to say a few things before we go. One is thank you for being here. I know no one wants to be on a podcast, but no one more than you.
I really am
did
good at
not want to
avoiding
be here.
Yeah.
So I owe you big time, and also the lunch you're going to arrange with me, you, and Christian Bale is.
It's not impossible.
I'm already thanking you for that because now
he doesn't eat a lot of stuff though. Have you ever seen how ripped that dude is?
He's good.
No,
Yeah.
he's doing handfuls of walnuts and stuff. I think I had lunch with him one day. And I came back and I've got like macaroni salad and then regular macaroni.
Sure.
I've got like 4 chicken nuggets shoved into like a bun.
Because he didn't eat anything.
Oh no, he had 4 beets.
Oh.
Like perfectly cut, like like somebody
and
says.
did he
like,
go like he savored the beet?
No. He just ate them like a normal man. Whereas I was just like.
Macaroni salad. I'm a macaroni man.
Yeah. If you want to feel bad about what you put on your plate, sit by Christian Bale at lunch.
I don't need any help in that. I feel bad already about whatever I put on my plate. It's already there.
Maybe I should have not sat here. Because I made a pressed sandwich with macaroni in it.
But you're generally healthy. You're generally healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to thank you for being here. I also want to thank you for your friendship. I like you. I've liked you for years.
I like you back.
I feel a
camaraderie.
Exactly. I
Esprit de
feel
corps.
a connection.
Yeah.
And I don't always feel that with everybody, even everybody in comedy, even everybody in improv comedy. I don't always feel that.
I get it. I think it has to do with also the tremendous amount of respect that I have also for you.
That may be it. I like you because you like me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I might avoid your emails for 8 months.
No, don't do it.
But it doesn't mean I'm going to avoid them forever.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good. I will not press. But thanks for being here.
By the way, think about the number of podcasts I do not do.
Well, let's count
It's
them.
unbelievable.
Really?
It's unbelievable.
Because there are something like, I don't know, 40,000
I've started getting
podcasts
really great
every
at
day.
saying no to stuff.
Yeah, that's good.
You got to be a really good pal.
Oh, that's good. I really appreciate
it. It eats
it.
up all your writing time too,
That's true, but I'm always looking for a distraction.
Something to not do writing time.
I'm always looking for a distraction, so that's easy for me.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here, Tom. I'm a big fan. I like your work. And thank you for being here, my audience. Please subscribe to this dumb show. Listen to it. Send some to your friends. And more importantly, spend time talking to cool people like I'm doing. That's the whole point of this. Yep. Goodbye. Hey, that was Tom Lennon, everybody. He was one of my very favorite guests. He literally walked out the door. All right. Come back, Tom. Come back. Please come back. Oh.
Don't be